CGI, VFX, special effects. What's the difference?
If you're a fan of movies or shows, you've probably heard these terms thrown around quite a bit. Unfortunately, you've probably heard them from news sources or YouTubers who genuinely don't understand what they mean, and heavily misuse them. I can't prove it, but I do think that a sizable chunk of people who use these words don't understand what they actually mean. So in this video, I'll take you through these words and explain what they really mean, how they're done, and how you can do them yourself. I bet you'll be surprised when you learn what some of these actually mean. I'll also throw in the terms editing and animation, since people don't seem to understand those either. Without further ado, let's get right into the video. Starting with CGI. CGI stands for Computer Generated Imagery. Basically, it's the 3D stuff you see that's made in a computer. All of these clips are CGI. Here's how CGI works. Many points, called vertices, are created in a 3D software. Those vertices can join together to make lines, called edges. Those lines can join together to make polygons, faces. These polygons can be arranged to make any shape you want. Once we have a shape we want, we can move, rotate, and distort it to make it do whatever we want. We can then place images on the faces to give them a material. We can even use these special images called maps. These look weird on their own, but when mixed with regular images, they can tell the software how the material reacts to light, making it more realistic. Once we have a realistic 3D model, we can build a scene with a whole bunch of models. We can make the models move and add lighting using something called path tracing. Path tracing is a topic for another video, but it basically replicates the lighting of the real world with extreme accuracy. Once we have a cool looking scene, we can add effects on top of it to make it a little better. And there you have it, a finished scene in CGI. If you want to try this yourself, here's some great news. It's really easy to get into it. There's 4 main software you could use: Cinema 4D, Maya, Blender, and 3ds Max. Personally, I'd recommend you start with Blender, since it's 100% free, really easy to set up, and is just as good, if not better, than the other 3. If you actually want to get into it, consider watching this video by Andrew Price. It's a great introduction that will help you learn very quickly. But hold on a second. Let's roll back a bit. To the part where we were putting together a cool scene. What if we wanted to add real people to the scene? Or better yet, what if you wanted your 3D model to be in a real-life scene? Well, for that, you'd have to use visual effects. Visual effects, or VFX, is the process of altering existing footage to achieve an intended effect. All of these clips are VFX. VFX is a much more general term than CGI. It contains a whole host of tricks and effects. There's a bunch of stuff that you can do. One part of VFX I want to talk about is compositing. This is where you combine different videos together. You can even mix this with CGI. Maybe have a real actor in a CG environment, or maybe a CG object in the real world. You can even have a real actor in another real environment, potentially somewhere where it's dangerous or difficult to film. This is one of the reasons the confusion between the two exists. This is CGI, the whole shot is VFX. This is CGI, this is VFX. If you want to get into VFX, unfortunately, it's not as easy as CGI. A good deal of the software is paid. The industry standard software is Nuke, however, I'd recommend starting with Adobe After Effects. If you're doing simpler stuff, free software like Blender and DaVinci Resolve might help you out, but if you're doing more complex stuff, I recommend either Nuke or After Effects. Before we get into the last term, which is the really surprising one, I just want to mention that Chapter 3 of my brand new game is out. The Elixir to Life. It's a lore-filled, action-packed, pseudo-horror shooter game. And Chapter 3 is out and working now, finally. Chapter 1 is being remastered, after which Chapter 4 will be on the way. And if your computer can't support it, you don't want to play it for whatever reason, sucks, I spent a lot of time making all of those. But if you don't want to play it for whatever reason, whatever, just watch the playthrough. It'll catch you up to speed on all of the lore. Anyway, let's get back to the video. The final term is special effects. This is an interesting one since it probably means the opposite of what you think it does. all of these clips contain special effects. Special effects is something captured in camera, which means it's not altered in any way and has no influence from a computer. It's funny, most people confuse this with visual effects and probably think it means the opposite of what it does. I've even heard someone say the phrase computer-generated special effects, which is an oxymoron. Special effects can include optical trickery, on-set explosions, or fire, or even makeup. Yes, makeup is special effects. Now I want to cover the other two terms I mentioned, animation and editing. There's less confusion with these, but I still see people get them wrong sometimes. Animation is basically just making stuff move. It can be a series of 2D drawings or a moving 3D CG model. The commonality is that it's making stuff move. Editing is happening to this video right now. It's basically when you take the individual part of the video, the visuals, the audio, the music, and you put them all together. Good free software for editing can include Kdenlive and DaVinci Resolve. If you're willing to spend money, then Adobe Premiere Pro is a good investment. So there you have it, a breakdown of CGI, VFX, and special effects. These terms may often be used interchangeably or misunderstood, but now you have a clear understanding of what each entails. I've already mentioned how you can get into these yourself. If you have any doubts in getting started, don't hesitate to ask me in the comments. I'd be more than happy to respond. And here's a little pro tip from me. If you see anyone, particularly a news article, talk about CGI, VFX, and/or special effects, and use these terms incorrectly, that's probably a good sign that they're not an expert in this field, and maybe you shouldn't trust them. Check out this video about the movie Rabbit Hole. You can see a lot of news sites get this wrong, and that's probably a good sign that they're not very trustworthy. Another reminder to check out my brand new game, Elixir to Life. The remaster of Chapter 1 is coming out soon, and Chapter 4 is being planned already. Was there anything I missed? Did I get anything wrong? Do you still have a question? Let me know in the comment section. I will be more than happy to reply. Thanks for watching. Please do subscribe and like, and maybe watch one of these videos. I think you'll like this one, maybe you like this one. And see you next time. Bye.